In complex numbers, we have something called a conjugate. So if we look at these two complex numbers, -7 plus 2i, -7 minus 2i, what is the only difference between them? Well, that middle sign is the only difference. One is a plus, one is a minus. We say that these two numbers, -7 plus 2i and -7 minus 2i, are conjugates. Conjugates. Might have spelled that wrong. That's okay. All right. Why are conjugates important in complex numbers? Well, let's take a minute and multiply these two conjugates together. So, fronts, 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times -2i is 14i. 2i minus 7 is minus 14i. And 2i times -2i is -4. I times I is I squared. And immediately, what you should see when we did this is that these two middle terms are positive 14i and negative 14i. And if you look, when we multiply the insides and the outsides, we're always going to have the same, if it's a conjugate, we're always going to have the same two front numbers and the same two back numbers. So we're going to get like the positive version and the negative version of those two numbers. Well, what's 14i minus 14i? That's 0. So immediately, the singleton i's have gone away and we're left with just an I squared. What do we know about I squared? I squared is equal to -1. So we have this -4 times a -1, and that gives us a final answer here of 53. So in this case, what we see is that a complex number times its conjugate is going to make all of the letter i's parts go away, all the imaginary bits will go away, and we're left with a real number, just a single real number. And that is going to happen every single time we multiply something by its conjugate. So if you're given a complex number like 7 plus 2i, or like, I don't know, 8 minus 3i, what is the conjugate of that number? Well, just change the sign on the imaginary part, or that middle sign. So the conjugate of 8 minus 3i is 8 plus 3i. So given a complex number, a plus bi, the conjugate is created by changing the sign on the complex part to the opposite sign. So the conjugate of a plus bi would be a minus bi. The conjugate of a minus bi is a plus